Chosen one. Hear this. October 11th has not arrived by chance. This date is sealed in heaven's calendar, carved into eternity before you ever drew breath. Everything around you pauses in this moment because the Spirit of God is announcing your release. This is not a day like the rest. It is the day where divine payment meets earthly need, where what has been withheld is poured out, and where your empty hands are filled with heaven's supply. You are not like the others. You cannot fade into the background, because heaven has stamped chosen across your life. That is why the struggles you faced were not random attacks. They were attempts to crush the one who carries destiny. The battles you endured were heavy because the weight of your calling is great. Every tear, every night you whispered prayers into the silence, every moment you wondered if God had forgotten you, none of it was wasted. All of it was recorded. Listen carefully. October 11th is not about coincidence. It is about covenant. Your miracle payment is more than money. It is evidence that heaven has not overlooked you. It is confirmation that God is still moving in your story. The world may say, it is impossible, but the heavens roar. It is already done. You may have been surrounded by lack, but you were never abandoned. The author of your life has been writing this moment for you, line by line, step by step. Chosen one. You must understand that heaven's timing is always perfect, though it felt like delay. It was preparation. God was aligning the pieces, orchestrating unseen breakthroughs, and positioning resources so that when your miracle payment arrives, it cannot be stolen, diverted, or diminished. What is meant for you will reach you. This divine release is also a prophetic sign to the nations. Your testimony will awaken faith in others who are weary and doubting. They will see that the God you serve is alive, providing, and faithful. Through your story, they will be reminded that hope is never lost, and that heaven always keeps its promises. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Chosen one. Think of this. How many times did you almost give up? How many moments did you stare at the empty account, the unpaid bill, the rejection letter, and wonder if your story would ever shift? Yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, because you are preserved for this exact moment. You survived because you are meant to step into abundance. You endured because you are destined to testify. This October 11th miracle payment is not ordinary provision. It is a sign that doors are opening, that chains are breaking, that cycles of lack are ending. What took years of toil will be overturned in one divine transaction. What looked stuck will suddenly move. You will not only have enough, you will overflow. And when the overflow comes, every mocking voice, every whisper of doubt, every lie of the enemy will be silenced. For the Lord prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies, and your cup shall run over. But here is the question: will you recognize the moment when it arrives? Many watch heaven's movement pass them by because they are distracted, doubting, or delaying. Do not let delay rob you. Do not let fear blind you. Do not let unbelief silence your confession. This is the hour where you must rise, speak, and declare, I am ready for my payment. I am ready for heaven's release. Chosen one. Understand this truth. Obedience is the doorway to abundance. Heaven has aligned this message to reach you right now, in this very moment, so you would not miss the window. The Holy Spirit has pressed pause on everything around you to speak these words into your life. Do not dismiss it. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. If your spirit agrees, then act in faith right now. Don't scroll past and lose your portion. Seal this moment. Share this word so that others might awaken. Like this message, if your spirit is stirred, comment below to declare your alignment with heaven's promise. Subscribe so you never miss the next wave of prophetic release. Every act of faith is a seed, and every seed produces a harvest. Chosen one. October 11th is your marker. It is your signpost. It is heaven's way of saying, I see you. I have not forgotten you. I am your provider. Step forward boldly. For your miracle, payment is here. Now, as a prophetic act of faith, comment below the number that seals this promise. 111. Chosen one. Everything that surrounds you right now feels as though it is moving in chaos. Yet heaven whispers, this is my interruption. You did not stumble across this word by chance, and you are not listening by mistake. The truth is that when God interrupts, He does so with precision. The noise of the world cannot silence His voice, and the weight of your problems cannot drown out His timing. Right now, He interrupts your routine to remind you, provision is already in motion. Many times, divine interruptions do not appear as blessings at first glance. They come disguised as delays, obstacles, or sudden changes that disrupt what you thought was stable. But chosen one, what felt like detour was preservation. What felt like rejection was protection. What felt like loss was the removal of what could not carry you into your destiny. You have cried over closed doors, not realizing those very doors were sealed so that the one ordained by God could open at the appointed hour. This interruption is not simply to comfort you, it is to reposition you. You are being shifted into alignment. Think back to the countless times you thought, if only I had more. If only I could see breakthrough. If only this weight would lift. Heaven has heard each whisper, and in its timing, heaven disrupts everything to answer you. Chosen one. Divine interruption often comes in the stillness of ordinary days. In the quiet of your spirit, you sense something stirring. It is like the air shifts. You feel watched over, carried, strengthened. That is no coincidence. It is God breathing into your moment. You might not see the hand of provision yet, but the atmosphere is heavy with His promise. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord. Consider how many times you were carried when you didn't even know it. You drove safely while danger lingered on the road. You woke up one more morning when despair told you it wasn't worth it. You had strength to stand, even after nights you swore you couldn't go on. That was heaven's interruption, God preserving you for this moment. And now, with October 11th drawing near, the interruption grows stronger. Why this date? Why this appointed moment? Because heaven works in seasons. There are days marked for visitation, days when the windows of heaven open in undeniable ways. You are not being overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are chosen to be part of a miracle sequence that others will only witness from afar. Chosen one. Understand that divine interruption is often uncomfortable. It shakes your routine, unsettles your expectations, and forces you to release your grip on what you thought was stable. But do not despise the shaking. The shaking is evidence that God is building something unshakable. Everything temporary crumbles so that the eternal can remain. This is not destruction, it is construction. The foundation of your next season is being laid, and heaven itself has declared it will stand. In this moment, pause and breathe. Feel the weight of His presence. You are not scrolling through empty words, you are standing in a threshold moment. Everything in your life that once looked chaotic is falling under divine order. This is heaven's interruption, and it is sacred. Think of Abraham, called out from the familiar to a land he had never seen. Think of Moses, interrupted in the wilderness by a burning bush that would not be consumed. Think of Mary, interrupted by the angel who declared she carried a promise greater than herself. Divine interruptions are woven into the story of every chosen one. And now, your story joins theirs. Chosen one. You are standing in a line of destiny. This interruption is not random, it is generational. Through your obedience and your faith, cycles are being broken. Poverty that plagued your family line is being interrupted. Fear that tormented generations before you is being silenced. Doubt that held back others will not chain you. You are heaven's interruption to the enemy's plan. And so, beloved chosen one, do not resist what God is doing. Yield, surrender, trust. This interruption is not punishment, it is preparation. Heaven is shifting you into position so that on October 11th, when the miracle payment arrives, you will not only receive it, you will be ready to steward it. This is not about money alone, it is about the testimony that comes with it. When people see your sudden shift, they will know it was not by human hands, but by divine power. You will carry the story of God's interruption, and through your life, others will dare to believe again. So rest. Chosen one. The interruption is holy. The interruption is purposeful. The interruption is your sign that heaven has already begun to move. Chosen one. You have carried a weight that most cannot see. The world looks at you and sees someone standing, but heaven sees the countless times you almost collapsed under the invisible burdens. You have endured nights of silence where prayers seemed unanswered, days of exhaustion where strength felt beyond reach, and seasons where rejection pierced deeper than any blade. Yet, despite it all, you remain. Why? Because you are not ordinary. You are chosen, preserved, and marked for a destiny that cannot be erased. The enemy knew this. That is why the pressure against you was so heavy. It was not simply bad luck, not just life happening. Darkness recognized the crown over your head long before you did. And so, it tried everything possible to convince you to give up before your moment came. But every tear watered the soil of your future harvest. Every heartbreak pushed you closer to heaven's embrace. Every disappointment carved out room in your spirit to carry the abundance that is about to be released. Chosen one. Your struggles were never random. They were signs of the glory within you. And now, with the arrival of October 11th, heaven is declaring the release. This payment is not only financial, it is spiritual. It is the evidence that God sees the unseen battles, hears the unspoken cries, and rewards the hidden faithfulness. You are standing on the edge of manifestation, where what was promised in secret becomes visible in public. We find in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." No, but here is where the challenge lies. You must remain open to receive. Sometimes, the greatest hindrance to blessing is not external opposition, but internal doubt. You must silence the voice that says, "It's not for me." You must silence the fear that whispers, "What if it doesn't happen?" And you must reject the lie that insists, "I am not worthy." Heaven has already settled the matter. You are worthy because God has chosen you. Chosen one. The enemy trembles at this truth. He knows that once you step into abundance, you will fund kingdom work. You will testify boldly, and you will encourage others who are still stuck in despair. That is why he tried so hard to keep you in chains of fear and lack. But those chains have no authority anymore. Now, pause and reflect. Can you feel the shift even as you hear these words? The atmosphere around you is changing. What once felt heavy now feels lighter. What once seemed impossible now carries the fragrance of breakthrough. Heaven is opening its hand over your life, and the release is undeniable. This is where I ask you to act. Not for me, but for yourself. As a prophetic declaration, I want you to comment these simple words. I receive it. Why this? Because when you type those words, you are aligning your mouth, your mind, and your spirit with heaven's release. You are making a bold confession that you are not rejecting the promise, not doubting the miracle, not dismissing the timing. You are standing firm, declaring in faith that what God has spoken, you will embrace. This is more than letters on a screen. It is an act of faith that seals agreement with the word you've just heard. Chosen one. Remember that faith is not passive, it is active. To comment, I receive it, is to place yourself in the posture of expectation. It is to say, I am not a bystander, I am a participant in this prophetic moment. Each word you write carries spiritual weight, because confession aligns with manifestation. And when you declare this in faith, expect the enemy to tremble. For every doubt he sowed is uprooted by your confession. Every fear he whispered is silenced by your bold agreement. Every curse he tried to plant is broken by the simple act of saying, I receive it. Heaven responds to faith, and faith always speaks. Chosen one, take courage. Your story is shifting. What felt like years of delay will suddenly unfold in days. What seemed far away is now at your doorstep. This is the beauty of divine timing. It arrives not a moment too late and not a moment too early. October 11th has always been reserved for you. And now it is finally within reach. You are not here by mistake. You are not listening by accident. This interruption in your routine is God's orchestration. Receive it fully, boldly, and without hesitation. For what is coming will not just bless you, it will overflow to everyone connected to you. So, chosen one, lift your head high. The weight is lifting. The chains are breaking. And the testimony is rising. Heaven has declared it. And your role now is simple. Believe it, confess it, and walk in it. Chosen one. There is a truth you must grasp deeply. What you endured was not punishment, but preparation. The roads you walked, though filled with thorns, shaped you into someone who could carry the mantle of abundance without being consumed by it. Heaven does not pour out blessing upon empty vessels that crack under weight. It fills those who have been refined through fire, strengthened in weakness, and humbled in waiting. You are that vessel. The world cannot understand why the battles raged so fiercely against you. They saw a person with ordinary circumstances, but what they did not see was the extraordinary light inside of you. That light attracted both favor and resistance. Favor, because heaven delights to pour into those who carry his image with purity. Resistance, because darkness fears the impact of a chosen one fully awakened. That is why you were pushed harder, tested deeper, and stretched further than others. Consider this: gold is never found polished in the earth. It is dug up, covered in dirt, processed in fire, and hammered into shape. You, too, have walked through the fire, yet instead of being destroyed, you were refined. Instead of breaking, you became resilient. Instead of fading, you shine brighter. Every scar became a testimony. Every valley became an altar. Every season of lack became a training ground. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. This ancient challenge echoes into your present. You cannot stand with 1 foot in fear and 1 foot in faith. You cannot waver between doubt and belief. Heaven's interruption demande décision. October 11th is not merely a date, it is a call to alignment. Will you believe that the Lord is your provider, or will you remain chained to the narrative of lack? Will you step into the miracle, or will you let hesitation rob you of what has been prepared? Chosen one. This is the essence of divine preparation. The moment comes when hesitation must die, and faith must rise. You are not stepping into this season as someone uncertain. You are stepping in as one chosen, refined, and ready. The hesitation that plagued your past cannot cross into your future. The double-mindedness that once kept you paralyzed is being broken, even now. Think of the years you spent waiting. At times, it felt endless. You wondered if promises were empty echoes. Yet all along, heaven was aligning resources, moving people, and orchestrating circumstances beyond your sight. Like Joseph in the prison, you may have felt forgotten, but at the appointed time, the doors open, and you are called into purpose. Like Esther, hidden away until the kingdom needed her voice, you were being preserved for such a time as this. Chosen one. Destiny is never rushed, yet it is never delayed. God's timing may stretch your patience, but it never misses the mark. The miracle payment set for October 11th is evidence of this truth. It will not arrive one day too late, nor one day too early. It comes exactly when your heart, your spirit, and your path are ready to receive it. Reflect for a moment. What would have happened if this blessing had arrived years ago, before the refining, before the preparation? Would you have valued it as you will now? Would you have carried it with reverence and responsibility, or would it have slipped through your hands, squandered because the vessel was not yet prepared? You see, heaven's waiting period was not cruelty, it was mercy. It ensured that what is coming will remain, multiply, and glorify God through your life. Chosen one. Preparation always feels longer than expected, but when the moment of release comes, It erases the weight of waiting. Like a mother who labors through pain but holds new life in her arms, you will soon forget the nights of lack when the abundance flows. You will remember them not as curses, but as stepping stones necessary. Painful, yet purposeful. Understand this: the miracle payment is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a new chapter. It is the launch into greater assignments, greater responsibilities, and greater testimonies. You are not being given this release simply to rest. You are being entrusted to carry it, to multiply it, to let it shine as proof of what heaven can do in the life of a chosen one. So stand tall. The refinement has done its work. The fire has not consumed you, it has crowned you. The waiting has not diminished you, it has deepened you. The pain has not destroyed you, it has positioned you. And now, as October 11th approaches, you stand not as one broken, but as one built, chosen one. Believe this with all your being. Heaven interrupts not to confuse, but to confirm. And this confirmation is clear: your preparation season has ended. The season of release is here. Chosen one. The time has come to understand what it means to be marked for release. You have walked through fire, stood in storms, and yet, like a tree by the rivers of living water, you remain rooted. Even when the winds bent you low, you did not break. That strength, hidden inside you, is now about to bear fruit. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil for months, even years. It looks as though nothing is happening beneath the surface. However, roots are forming, preparing the seed to break forth. One day, without warning, the sprout pierces through the ground and begins to reach toward the light. Chosen one. You are that seed. October 11th is the day of your sprouting, the day your hidden preparation becomes undeniable fruit. The world will look at you and wonder, how did this happen so suddenly? But you will know it was not sudden at all. It was the hand of God watering you through every tear, strengthening you in every dark night, and protecting you in every storm. And now, as the fruit of your faith appears, the harvest is not only for you, it is for others who will feed on your testimony and find strength for their own journeys. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." When you like this message, it is like placing sunlight over the field, helping others to notice where life is sprouting. When you share it, it is as if you are scattering seed into other fields, ensuring the harvest multiplies beyond your own garden. When you subscribe, you are saying, "I am staying connected to this well of water. I will return again to be refreshed." And yes, when you donate, it is not about obligation, but about alignment. Imagine a lamp burning brightly in the night. If the oil runs dry, the flame begins to flicker. Your generosity is oil. It keeps the flame alive, allowing more and more chosen ones across the world to find light in their darkest hour. Chosen one. This is not about charity, it is about partnership. You are not giving to a voice, you are sowing into the very soil of your own breakthrough. When you release what is in your hand, heaven releases what is in its hand. The two flows meet, and miracles multiply. This is why your engagement, your like, your share, your subscription, And yes, even your donation becomes part of the prophetic act. You are saying, I am not only a receiver of this word, I am also a carrier of it. And think of it this way, a river that hoards its waters becomes a swamp, stagnant and lifeless. But a river that flows outward becomes a source of life to countless fields and villages along its path. You are that river, chosen one. What God pours into you is not meant to end with you, it is meant to flow outward, touching lives you may never meet, inspiring souls you may never see. And so, I invite you with sincerity, do not keep this light to yourself. Let it flow, let it shine, let it multiply. Each small act you make, liking, sharing, subscribing, sowing, becomes a ripple in the river of destiny, and those ripples join together until they form waves strong enough to change entire shores. Chosen one, your October 11th miracle payment is a personal testimony. Yes, but it is also part of a greater story. It is proof that heaven still moves, that God still provides, that promises still come to pass. When you amplify this word through your engagement, you are not lifting up a person's voice, you are lifting up God's voice. You are ensuring that another weary soul, scrolling in silence, finds hope at the exact moment they were ready to give up. That is the beauty of partnership. You may never know the names of those who are touched, but heaven records it. Heaven counts every act of faith, every seed sown, every ripple you create. And one day, the testimonies will rise like a great chorus, because you shared. I believed, because you sowed. I was sustained, because you lit the lamp. I found the way, and chosen one. Understand this deeply. Your faith is not meant to be hidden. Your story is not meant to be small. Your payment is not meant to be private. All of it is designed to glorify God and awaken faith in those who watch your life unfold. So, nurture the flame. Keep the river flowing. Partner with heaven through action. And watch as your small act multiplies into something eternal. The harvest is here. The vision is speaking. The interruption is undeniable. Step boldly into your appointed time, and let the world see through your engagement, your generosity, and your testimony that God is still writing miracles in the lives of His chosen ones. Chosen one, there is a sound rising in the Spirit. It is not the noise of this world, not the empty chatter of men, but the steady declaration of heaven. Your miracle payment has been released into your atmosphere. October 11th is no longer just a date on the calendar. It is a divine appointment sealed with holy intention. You have been in a season where silence seemed louder than answers. You looked at your circumstances and thought, will this ever shift? Will I ever see what was promised? And yet, the silence was not absence, it was alignment. Heaven was moving behind the curtain, arranging what your eyes could not yet see. Chosen one, you are stepping into a time where delay bows to destiny. The struggles you endured were not wasted. They became the soil from which faith grew strong. Every unanswered question, every weary sigh, every moment you wanted to quit, it all brought you to this exact moment, where heaven declares, now is the time. Oh, the ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 31. Thunder with truth. If God is for us, who can be against us? Chosen one. Understand this clearly. The miracle payment is not just provision, it is evidence of identity. It proves that you are seen, remembered, and chosen. It is not about chance, not about luck, not about coincidence. It is about covenant. You are not a random wanderer. You are a son, a daughter of the Most High. And covenant children are never forsaken. Think about the years you have walked through. The times when resources dried up. The times when help never came. The times when promises seemed delayed. Each moment felt like an ending, but in truth, it was rehearsal for this beginning. October 11th is not the finish line, it is the launch pad. It is where cycles of lack end and testimonies of abundance begin. This is why your agreement matters. Heaven does not force blessings into unwilling hearts. You must choose to say, "Yes, I align with this promise. Yes, I open my spirit to receive. Yes, I am ready." Faith is the key that unlocks the treasury of heaven. Without it, the door remains closed. Not because God withholds, but because unbelief refuses entry. Chosen one, here is where you act prophetically. In this moment, as you hear the word, let your spirit respond. Do not let doubt silence you. Do not let fear hold your tongue. Instead, write it out. Speak it out. Declare it boldly. Type the number 444. Why 444? Because it is a number of stability. A number that represents the firm foundation heaven is laying under your feet. You are not stepping into shaky ground. You are stepping onto solid rock. You will not be tossed around by storms as before. You will stand unshakable. When you write 444, you are declaring, "My house, my life, my future is built on God's foundation, and no enemy can uproot it." When chosen one, when you type those 3 digits, you are not just commenting, you are constructing. Every 4 you declare is like a stone laid into the foundation of your testimony. Together, they form a structure that no storm can tear down. This is why it matters. This is why heaven watches when faith speaks, even in symbols, even in numbers. Think of Israel building altars of remembrance after each encounter with God. Those stones stood as testimony. Here, God moved. In the same way, your 444 becomes an altar, a digital marker of the day you aligned with the word of release. Long after October 11th, you will look back and say, "That was the day I declared my stability. That was the day I claimed my payment." Chosen one. Take courage. The world may not understand your act of faith, but heaven celebrates it. Angels are dispatched at the sound of faith. Doors open when confession aligns with promise. The unseen realm responds not to hesitation, but to boldness. And when you boldly declare 444, you mark yourself as one who trusts the foundation builder, the promise keeper, the provider who never fails. Hear this. The payment is not just about what you receive, but about what you become. You are becoming a testimony, a living signpost that points others to the faithfulness of God. And when people ask, "How did this happen?" your answer will not be complicated. It will be simple. Because I am chosen. Because I believed. And because I declared what heaven had spoken. And so let your voice rise. Let your spirit rejoice. October 11th is the day heaven interrupts your lack with abundance, your fear with courage, your instability with foundation. Mark it. Believe it, declare it, and watch it manifest. Chosen one, remember, you are not fragile clay tossed by storms. You are a house built upon the rock. And as you declare 444, you are stamping this truth into your story forever. Chosen one, every miracle is more than provision, it is also vindication. The moment God moves in your life, those who doubted you, those who mocked your faith, those who whispered behind your back, are confronted by the evidence that heaven has always been with you. This is not about proving yourself to them, it is about God proving himself through you. For too long, you carried words spoken against you, accusations, judgments, and labels tried to define your worth. People looked at your struggle and assumed it was failure. They saw delay and mistook it for denial. But, chosen one, the silence of heaven was not absence, it was strategy. God allowed certain voices to speak, so that his voice would rise above them at the right time. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused, and imprisoned. To the world, he looked abandoned. But in one day, one divine appointment, he was lifted from prison to palace. That sudden shift silenced every lie spoken against him. The same God who vindicated Joseph is moving for you now. October 11th is not only the release of payment, it is the silencing of every mocking voice. Chosen one, you must understand, your pain has always been prophetic. The battles you fought were never about the present, they were about the future. Darkness resisted you because of what was coming, but resistance is proof of destiny. The weight of opposition reveals the size of the crown, and your crown is not imaginary, it is ordained by heaven itself. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you, in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, declares the Lord." Take this in. Chosen one, weapons may form, but they cannot prosper. Tongues may rise, but they cannot prevail. Judgment may be spoken, but it will collapse under the authority of heaven. Your heritage is not shame, not defeat, not lack. It is righteousness, abundance, and vindication. When the mocking voices rise again, remember this promise. You are not required to fight with them, explain yourself to them, or prove your worth to them. Heaven has already settled the verdict. You are chosen, and the evidence of that truth will not come through arguments, but through undeniable blessings. Your October 11th release is one such evidence. Chosen one, the silencing of enemies is never about revenge, it is about testimony. God does not exalt you to humiliate others. He lifts you to magnify his name. Your vindication will not stir bitterness, but awe. Even your enemies will have to admit the hand of God is upon them. Consider the power of a table prepared in the presence of your enemies. That table is not only for you to eat, it is for them to witness. They must watch as your cup overflows, as your joy multiplies, as your testimony rises. The very ones who doubted you will become witnesses of your provision. Chosen one, take comfort in this. You do not need to waste time defending yourself. Every second spent proving your worth to doubters is a second stolen from your purpose. Leave the defense to heaven. God is your advocate, your shield, your defender, and when he speaks, no voice can contradict him. Think of Daniel, falsely accused and thrown into the lion's den. His enemies thought they had destroyed him, but heaven shut the mouths of the lions. The next morning, Daniel walked out unharmed, and those who accused him were silenced forever. The same God who vindicated Daniel is at work in your story. The mouths of lions are closing. The voices of accusation are falling silent. The evidence of your calling is rising. Chosen one, let this truth settle deep within you. Vindication is not a reaction, it is a revelation. It reveals that you were never alone, that God was with you in every step, and that His timing is perfect. Vindication reveals that even when people doubted you, heaven believed in you, and heaven's belief outweighs every earthly doubt. So do not let the noise trouble you. Do not let the whispers distract you. You are not here to argue with shadows. You are here to shine. The day of your vindication is approaching quickly, and no word spoken against you will survive its light. Stand tall. Chosen one, let your spirit rest. Heaven has already silenced the storm, and soon the evidence will be undeniable. The release, the payment, the breakthrough, it is not just for your survival, it is for your vindication, your testimony, and the glory of God revealed through your life. Chosen one, every miracle carries within it a test of obedience. Before the release comes into your hands, heaven examines the posture of your heart. Will you obey when it feels uncomfortable? Will you trust when it makes no sense? Will you step forward even when your feet tremble? These are the questions that shape whether you are ready to carry what is being poured out. Obedience has always been the dividing line between those who witness miracles and those who live them. Israel saw the Red Sea part, but only those who walked forward in obedience experienced the ground beneath their feet turn from chaos to stability. Peter saw Jesus on the water, but only when he obeyed the call to step out of the boat did he touch the impossible. Obedience is never easy, but it is always rewarded. Chosen one. Think back to moments in your life when the Spirit nudged you to act. Even in small ways, perhaps it was a whisper to forgive when anger screamed louder. Perhaps it was an urge to give when lack made you cautious. Perhaps it was a push to take a risk when fear said, "Stay where you are." Those moments, though small, were training. They were the practice fields for the larger steps you are called to now. Heaven's instruction is often uncomfortable because it confronts the very fears we cling to. The call to trust confronts the fear of lack. The call to step out confronts the fear of failure. The call to surrender confronts the fear of losing control. But chosen one, obedience is not about comfort, it is about covenant. And covenant always leads to blessing. The Word of God reminds us in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 11, verse 28. Blessed rather are those who hear the Word of God and obey it. End of. There is no shortcut around this truth. Blessing does not come by hearing alone. It comes by hearing and doing. It is not enough to agree with the promise, you must align with it. It is not enough to nod at the instruction, you must walk it out. The miracle payment of October 11th is not just about what God will release, but also about how you respond to His call in this season. Chosen one. Understand this. Obedience often looks illogical to the watching world. Noah looked like a fool building an ark under a clear sky. Abraham looked reckless, leaving his homeland without knowing the destination. The widow at Zarephath looked irrational, giving her last meal to the prophet, Yet, in every story, obedience became the pathway to supernatural provision. You, too, are being asked to trust beyond logic, to step beyond sight, to obey beyond fear. Think of obedience as a key. A key may look small, almost insignificant, yet it has the power to open doors far larger than itself. One act of obedience can unlock years of waiting. One step of faith can release generations of blessing. Your obedience in this season is the key to doors you did not even know existed. And do not underestimate the ripple effect of your obedience. It does not only impact you, it touches everyone connected to you. When you obey, your family feels the shift. Your community sees the change. Generations after, you will live in the fruit of decisions you make now. Obedience is never about one person, it is always about legacy. Chosen one. This is why the test feels so weighty. Heaven is not just preparing to bless you, it is preparing to bless through you. The miracle payment is not meant to stop in your hands, it is meant to flow out, to multiply, to testify. And the flow begins with your yes. So ask yourself honestly, what is God requiring of me right now? What step have I been delaying? What act of trust have I been resisting? The sooner you obey, the sooner the flow begins. Delay is the enemy of destiny. Each day of hesitation holds back what could already be in motion. But the moment obedience comes, doors swing open. Remember this, obedience is not about perfection, but about posture. God does not expect flawless execution. He desires willing hearts. He does not look for those who never stumble. He looks for those who rise again. Realign and say, "Yes, Lord, I will follow." Your willingness outweighs your weakness. Chosen one. You stand at a threshold. The instructions of heaven are not burdens, they are bridges. They may stretch you, but they will not break you. They may test you, but they will also bless you. And on the other side of your yes is a miracle waiting to be released. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every destiny where silence must give way to declaration. You have believed quietly. You have endured silently. But now the atmosphere requires your voice. Heaven is listening, waiting for your agreement. The earth itself responds when the chosen declare who they are and what they have aligned themselves with. For too long, the enemy tried to muzzle you with fear. He whispered, "Stay quiet. Keep it inside. Don't speak it out loud." Because he knows this, unspoken faith remains dormant. But declared faith becomes unstoppable. The miracle payment of October 11th is not just about provision, it is about the power of your confession. When you open your mouth, or even when you write it boldly, you shift realms. Consider the story of David facing Goliath. Long before he swung the stone, he released words, "The Lord will deliver you into my hands." His declaration was the first blow in the battle. The victory began not with his sling, but with his mouth. Chosen one. Your own words are stones in the spirit. When you declare the promise, you strike down the lies that tower over you. The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21, proclaims this eternal truth. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat. Do you see it? Chosen one, your tongue is a garden. What you declare, you plant. What you confess, you cultivate. What you speak repeatedly, you harvest. If your words align with heaven, your life will bear heaven's fruit. If your words align with fear, you reap fear's harvest. This is why the Spirit urges you today: declare life, declare faith, declare provision. Chosen one, you have been silent long enough. It is time to break the muzzle. It is time to write your faith into existence, to etch your declaration into the atmosphere. Do not underestimate what happens when you act in alignment. The simple act of commenting is not just interaction, it is intercession. It is a prophetic act that seals what you have heard. And here is what I call you to declare today: my time has come. And let those 4 words become your banner. Write them below as a statement of agreement. And let heaven see your boldness. When you say, "My time has come," you are announcing that the season of waiting is over. You are declaring that October 11th is not just a date, it is your divine appointment. You are affirming that the delay has ended and the fulfillment is beginning. Why does this matter? Because declarations create reality. When you write, "My time has come," you are not simply expressing hope, you are aligning with heaven's decree. It is like stepping onto a stage after years of rehearsal. The lights turn on, and you say, "Yes, I am ready." The audience of angels leans in, and the author of your story smiles. For the one he has chosen finally believes enough to declare it. Chosen one. Understand this. Your declaration is not for others, it is for you. It is the shift in your own spirit. The moment your heart and your mouth agree. Scripture tells us that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. When you declare truth, you hear it. When you hear it, faith grows. And when faith grows, miracle manifeste. Do not let doubt steal your voice again. Do not let fear keep you silent. Fear is a thief, but faith is a builder. Build your future with your declaration. Establish your October 11th payment with your words. Mark your season with the phrase, "My time has come." And think of the countless generations before you who declared the promises of God aloud. Joshua declared, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Hannah declared, "My heart rejoices in the Lord." Mary declared, "Let it be to me according to your word." Their declarations shaped history, and now your declaration will shape yours. Chosen one, let this word resonate. It is not arrogance to declare, it is obedience. You are not boasting in yourself, you are boasting in the God who keeps promises. When you write, "My time has come," you are not forcing God's hand, you are aligning your hand with His. So let the words flow freely. Let the boldness rise. Let your spirit rejoice as you type those 4 words in faith. This is your moment. This is your declaration. This is the sound that shakes the silence and opens the gates of provision. Remember, your tongue has the power of life. Use it well. Use it wisely. Use it boldly. The world may not understand why you comment in faith, but heaven understands, and heaven responds. Chosen one, believe it with all your heart. Your time has come. Chosen one. October is not just a month on the calendar, it is a season of shifting winds. The air around you feels different because heaven has stirred it. What once felt stagnant is now moving. What was stuck is loosening. The month itself carries a prophetic weight, a spiritual turning point that pushes you forward into what you were born to walk in. Imagine the autumn leaves falling from trees. To some, it looks like loss. But to those who understand seasons, it is preparation for renewal. Old leaves must fall to make room for new growth in spring. Chosen one. The shedding in your life was not destruction, it was preparation. Relationships ended. Doors closed. Resources dried up. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were being cleared for something greater. Think of it like the pruning of a vine. The gardener cuts not to harm, but to multiply. Every cut prepares for more fruit. Every pruning is an investment in your abundance. October has been your pruning season. And now, the harvest begins, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 5. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me, and I in you, chosen one. Fruitfulness is not about striving, it is about connection. The branches do not force grapes to grow, they simply remain attached to the vine. Your abundance comes not from your striving, but from your abiding. And in October, heaven whispers, stay connected, remain in me. The fruit is already forming. But let me speak heart to heart with you. Messages like this are more than words, they are seeds. And just as seeds need care, sunlight, water, protection, so too does this word. If it lies dormant, it may fade, but when you nurture it, it grows into something powerful. How do you nurture it? With action. When you like this word, it's like turning the soil, keeping it fresh. When you share it, you scatter seeds into other gardens, into hearts that may be dry and desperate for rain. When you subscribe, it's like saying, I will keep coming back to the well that waters me. No, and yes, chosen one. When you donate, it is not just a transaction, it is planting. Think of a lamp burning in the night. It brings light to many. But that light continues only as long as oil is poured into it. Your generosity is that oil. Every gift keeps the flame alive, allowing this message of hope to reach further, shine brighter, and guide more souls in the dark. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are not giving to a voice, you are sowing into a vineyard. And in a vineyard, every seed planted multiplies into harvest. One seed can become a tree, and one tree can feed generations. When you sow into this flow, you are saying, I am not only a receiver of fruit, I am a planter of orchards. And think of the ripple effect. Your simple act of generosity may be the reason someone on the other side of the world hears this message at their breaking point. Your single share may be the reason a soul chooses faith over despair. Your one subscription may be the anchor that keeps you connected to ongoing streams of life-giving words. It is not about numbers, it is about impact. You may feel small, but small acts become mighty in God's hands. A widow's 2 coins became a timeless testimony. A boy's 5 loaves and 2 fish fed thousands. Do not underestimate what your yes can do. Chosen one. October is about overflow. But overflow begins with small acts of obedience. When you nurture this word through your engagement, your sharing, your sowing, you align yourself with the flow of heaven. You are not only a witness to miracles, but a participant in them. This is not manipulation, it is multiplication. It is the principle of seed time and harvest, written into creation itself. Whatever is sown, grows. Whatever is planted, multiplies. And when you sow into a word that carries heaven's breath, the harvest comes back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So as you step into this October shift, remember the lessons of the vineyard. Remain in the vine. Let the old leaves fall. Trust the pruning and nurture the seeds placed in your hands. In doing so, you will not only receive your miracle payment, you will become part of the miracle for countless others. Chosen one. The winds of October are blowing. The fruit is ripening, and heaven is smiling over your obedience. Stay connected. Stay generous. Stay faithful. For the gardener has declared, the harvest is ready. Chosen one. When heaven releases provision, it is never left unattended. God does not send blessings without also sending guardians to ensure their safe arrival. Just as armies escort kings, your miracle payment does not travel alone. It is accompanied by angels of provision. These messengers of light move at the command of the Almighty, carrying what is yours through realms of resistance until it rests in your hands. You may not see them with your eyes, but their presence surrounds you. They are the unseen strength that kept you from falling when burdens grew too heavy. They are the shield that blocked unseen dangers, the whisper that urged you forward when quitting felt easier. Many nights you wondered why destruction did not touch you, why despair did not consume you, why loss did not swallow you whole. It was because heaven's messengers stood guard. Consider Daniel in the lion's den. He was not alone in that pit. Angels stood with him, closing the mouths of predators and preserving him for his destiny. In the same way, chosen one, angels have stood with you in pits you thought would end your story. Their assignment was clear: protect the chosen until the promise arrives. The Word of God assures us in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." Oh, you must also know this. Angels are not only protectors, they are carriers. In the wilderness, Elijah was fed by an angel who brought bread and water, sustaining him for the journey ahead. When Jesus was tested, angels came and ministered to him, strengthening him after the battle. Likewise, your angels are carrying strength, sustenance, and supply into your life. They are not passive, they are active participants in the unfolding of your miracle. This truth should shift how you view your current struggles. Every obstacle that rises is already being confronted by unseen hands. Every attack launched against your life collides with a wall of light. Every delay the enemy tries to engineer is met with divine intervention. You are not defenseless. You are not alone. You are escorted by the army of heaven itself. Chosen one. Many times you thought you were weak, but you were stronger than you knew, because angels stood beside you. You thought you were walking alone, but unseen feet matched your every step. You thought survival was your own doing, but in truth, it was the constant covering of God's command. Every breath you take is evidence that the angels assigned to you have not failed in their duty. Reflect on this. If heaven sends messengers to protect sparrows in the sky and lilies in the field, how much more will he send them to protect you? His chosen one, you are not a passing detail in creation, you are the crown jewel of his purpose. Your life is too precious, your destiny too great, for him to leave you uncovered. Chosen one, this should bring you peace. You do not need to fight every battle in your own strength. You are called to stand, to trust, to walk in obedience. The battles you cannot see are already being fought on your behalf. The enemies you cannot name are already being silenced by swords of fire. The payment that is on its way is shielded by more than earthly protection. It is carried under divine escort. There is also a reason you feel such intense resistance before breakthrough. The enemy senses the movement of angels. He knows something is being delivered. So he stirs confusion, fear, and doubt to distract you. But do not be deceived. Resistance is not proof of defeat, it is evidence of activity. The closer your miracle, the greater the shaking, the heavier the warfare, the nearer the release. Chosen one, stand firm. The angels of provision are already on assignment. They have never lost a battle, never failed in their mission, never returned to heaven empty-handed. What they carry for you is secure. Your only task is to remain in faith, to trust that what has been dispatched will surely arrive. As October 11th approaches, imagine the unseen procession moving closer. Chariots of fire, hosts of light, guardians of glory, all converging to deliver what belongs to you. This is not fantasy, it is reality sealed in Scripture, confirmed in your spirit, and soon to be visible in your story. Chosen one, lift your eyes. The hills around you are filled with the army of God. The road ahead is paved with angelic footsteps. Your miracle payment is not traveling alone, it is carried, guarded, and delivered by heaven's finest. Rest in this truth. The command has already gone forth, and angels are already moving in your direction. Chosen one. There are moments in history when heaven marks a line and says, "This is completion. This is fullness. This is the season where what was started will be finished." You are stepping into such a moment now. October 11th is not just about release, it is about divine completion. The things that lingered half-built, the prayers that felt half-answered, the promises that seemed half-fulfilled, all of these are moving into fullness. You have carried fragments for so long, pieces of vision, whispers of prophecy, glimpses of hope. At times, you wondered if the puzzle would ever come together. You saw enough to keep believing, but not enough to stop the questions. Yet heaven whispers now, the fragments are becoming whole. The puzzle is being completed. The ancient words recorded in Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11, reveal this mystery. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. Chosen one. The beauty of your story is not random, it is timed. The delays were not denial, they were orchestration. You could not see the entire tapestry, but heaven was weaving every thread, every trial, every tear into a masterpiece. What once felt broken is being revealed as beautiful. What once felt incomplete is now reaching its appointed time. Completion does not mean the absence of struggle, it means the presence of fulfillment. A woman in labor still feels pain, even as new life crowns. The struggle may remain in some areas, but the promise is being birthed regardless. October 11th carries that kind of prophetic weight, pain giving way to promise, struggle giving way to testimony, fragments giving way to fullness. Chosen one. Heaven often uses numbers as signs. Numbers carry patterns. meanings, and prophetic resonance. And in this moment, you are invited to seal your agreement with heaven's word through a number of divine completion, 888. Why 888? Because it represents new beginnings multiplied, the cycle of fullness completed threefold. The first 8 reminds you that what was broken is now whole. The second 8 declares that what was delayed is now delivered. The third 8 proclaims that what was hidden is now revealed. Together, 888 is heaven's stamp of complete renewal, a prophetic marker of resurrection and abundance. When you write 888, you are declaring, "My completion has come. What was started in me will be finished." My October 11th payment is not just release, it is fulfillment. You are aligning your spirit with the rhythm of heaven's order, confessing that nothing will be left half done in your life. Chosen one. Think about the times you almost quit because things looked incomplete. The job that ended before it bore fruit, the relationship that broke before it blossomed, the dream that stalled before it took shape. You mourned those moments as if they were wasted. But heaven says now, not wasted, only waiting. The fullness is arriving, and you will see that no fragment was in vain. The act of declaring 888 is not superstition, it is participation. It is your way of saying, "I see what heaven is doing, and I join my faith to it." Just as Israel raised stones after crossing the Jordan to testify, you raise your digital altar through numbers, testifying, "Here, God completed what he promised. Allah, chosen one." Let the number echo, not just on the screen, but in your spirit. With each digit, imagine the fragments in your life coming together. The first 8, your broken past mended. The second 8, your present struggles turning into stepping stones. The third 8, your future unfolding in beauty and abundance. Together, they form the testimony of a life no longer scattered, but completed in Christ. Do not underestimate the power of this prophetic act. Heaven watches agreement. Angels respond to declaration. Your own soul is strengthened when you put faith into words or into numbers. 888 is more than a comment. It is a covenant mark that says, "I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living." Chosen one. Step boldly into this moment. October 11th is not only about payment, it is about completion. Every unfinished chapter is being closed. Every unfulfilled promise is being sealed. Every loose thread is being tied. And as you declare 888, you are placing your signature under heaven's decree. It is finished. It is fulfilled. It is complete. So, rise. Chosen one. With peace in your heart. You are not carrying fragments anymore. You are stepping into fullness. You are walking into beauty. You are receiving completion. Type it now, 888, and let heaven record your agreement. Chosen one. There is a truth that few speak of, yet it shapes the course of countless lives. The realm of finances is a battleground. What many see as mere numbers in an account or coins exchanged in hand is, in reality, territory of spiritual warfare. The enemy understands that if he can keep the chosen ones in cycles of lack, he can hinder their assignments, silence their influence, and limit the reach of their testimony. But what he fears most is a chosen one resourced, funded, and free. This is why you have faced such fierce resistance in the area of provision. It is not because you are careless, not because you are undeserving, but because your financial release carries prophetic weight. When you are resourced, you are dangerous. When your hands overflow, you can build, bless, and break chains for others. When your table is full, you can invite the hungry to sit and eat. The enemy has always known this, which is why he fought to keep you in cycles of lack. From the beginning, money has been more than currency. It has been influence. It builds temples or idols, funds truth or deception, empowers justice or oppression. The adversary twists finances into chains, turning abundance into greed or scarcity into despair. But heaven has a different agenda. To heaven, resources are tools for testimony, provision for purpose, and signs that the covenant still stands. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Haggai. Chapter 2, verse 8. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, declares the Lord Almighty. These words shatter the illusion of ownership. Nothing in this world truly belongs to men or powers of darkness. All wealth is heaven's to command. And when God says, "It is mine," He is also saying, "I can place it where I desire." October 11th is the moment heaven shifts resources into your hands because you have been marked as trustworthy. Chosen one. You must see clearly. Every delay in your financial journey was a battle. Doors that refused to open were not just bad luck, they were resistance. Opportunities that slipped away were not random, they were wrestled from you by opposition. Yet through every battle, heaven watched and waited. And now, as the appointed moment arrives, the warfare that once blocked you will bow to the authority of God. Understand this: wealth itself is not evil. Scripture warns against the love of money, not against money itself. For in righteous hands, resources become weapons of light. They break poverty's curse. They lift communities. They send forth voices of truth. They silence the taunts of darkness with the evidence of heaven's abundance. You are being entrusted not merely with payment, but with purpose. Consider the story of Israel leaving Egypt. They were once slaves with nothing. Yet when the time came to depart, God commanded the Egyptians to hand over silver and gold. The very nation that oppressed them became the channel of their abundance. What does this reveal? That God not only delivers His chosen from bondage, but also ensures they leave with provision. Your October 11th release carries this same echo. You will not only be freed from lack, you will carry away abundance as evidence that heaven's hand is upon you. Chosen one. Financial warfare is intense because the stakes are high. The enemy knows that once you step into provision, you will fund movements of light. You will stand taller. You will no longer bow to desperation. Your generosity will tear down strongholds, and your testimony will awaken faith in those who think poverty is permanent. That is why the battles around your resources have been relentless. But hear this: relentless resistance always precedes undeniable breakthrough. Let the truth sink in. Heaven has already declared ownership of every resource. It is not in the hands of darkness permanently. It is merely borrowed until the rightful heirs rise. You are one of those heirs. You are a chosen steward of wealth, not for vanity, but for victory, not for selfishness, but for service. And so, as the date approaches, let your perspective shift. Do not see money as paper and numbers alone. See it as a tool, a testimony, a weapon. When heaven releases provision, it is commissioning you. You are entrusted to carry it wisely, to direct it righteously, to multiply it faithfully. Chosen one, you are stepping out of warfare and into inheritance. The chains that once held your finances are breaking. The cycles that once drained your resources are ending. The atmosphere around your provision is shifting, and the very currency of heaven is moving in your direction. Lift your head. Do not shrink back. You are not a beggar, you are an heir. You are not forgotten, you are remembered. The silver and the gold belong to your Father, and what belongs to him can and will flow to you. This is your season of divine financial release, and no enemy can block what heaven has commanded. Chosen one, there is a mystery that few recognize until the moment of breakthrough arrives. Every seed sown in secret, every act of kindness unnoticed by men, every sacrifice whispered between you and heaven alone, none of it disappears. Diese hidden seeds remain alive, waiting for their appointed season to burst forth into harvest. October 11th is one such season. What you thought was forgotten is remembered. What you thought was wasted is about to return, multiplied. You have walked through years where it seemed as if your generosity was overlooked. You gave your last when no one thanked you. You served faithfully when no one applauded. You extended mercy when no one acknowledged it. At times, you wondered, did it matter? Did anyone see? Heaven answers now, yes, it mattered. And yes, it was seen. Nothing escapes the eye of the one who watches over his chosen. Think of the farmer who plants in spring. For months, there is only soil. He waters. He waits. He watches. But nothing appears. Neighbors may even laugh at the empty field. Yet in time, the ground cannot hold the life hidden within. Shoots break through, and what was once invisible becomes undeniable. Chosen one, your hidden seeds are breaking through. The ground of delay is cracking open, and harvest is rising to meet you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 4, then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. This promise is your assurance. The secret acts of faith you carried in silence are not wasted currency. They are eternal investments. And the reward is not only spiritual, it is tangible. Heaven is faithful to repay what was sown in trust. And the repayment often arrives when you need it most. That is why October 11th is a harvest date, because your need and your season of sowing have collided with God's appointed time. Chosen one, remember the story of Ruth. She gleaned faithfully in the fields, unnoticed, gathering scraps day after day. To many, her labor looked small, even insignificant. But heaven was watching. Her small acts of faith positioned her for an inheritance beyond her imagination. She went from gleaning leftovers to owning the field, from widowhood to legacy. What was the key? Her hidden faithfulness. You, too, are standing in Ruth's moment where what you did quietly is about to elevate you publicly. Your harvest will not only meet your needs, it will speak to others. Those who doubted the value of quiet faith will see its reward. Those who questioned why you kept giving, kept serving, kept standing, will witness the overflow. Your hidden seeds are about to preach a louder sermon than your words ever could. Chosen one, take time to reflect. How many small acts did you dismiss as insignificant? The prayer whispered when no one listened. The coin slipped into a hand with no expectation of return. The encouragement you gave when your own heart was heavy. These are not forgotten. They are catalogued in heaven's records, stored in jars of remembrance, waiting for the command, "Now release the harvest." OP. Understand this. Harvest is never proportionate to the seed, it is always greater. A single grain of wheat produces many stalks. A single apple seed produces a tree that yields fruit for years. Your acts of obedience, though small in the moment, carry exponential power. That is why the harvest you are stepping into feels larger than what you planted. It is multiplication. But harvest also carries responsibility. The farmer does not gather fruit only to admire it. He distributes, feeds, and plants again for future seasons. Likewise, what you are about to receive is not just for you to hold, it is for you to steward. The miracle payment of October 11th is both provision and training. It teaches you how to handle increase, how to multiply what is given, how to remain faithful in abundance as you were in lack. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. You are not stepping into random blessing. You are stepping into remembered reward. Heaven saw. Heaven recorded. Heaven responds. What you sowed in tears, you will reap in joy. What you gave in secret, you will receive in public. What you thought was gone is returning, multiplied. Lift your heart in gratitude, for the ground of your life is shifting. The fields are ready. The fruit is heavy. The season of hiddenness is over. Your harvest is breaking forth. And nothing, no enemy, nor delay, no resistance can stop what heaven has already commanded to rise. Chosen one. The sound of your testimony will not be confined to your own life. What heaven is about to release will ripple outward like waves on still water. Your story is becoming part of a global symphony, a chorus of chosen ones rising from every corner of the earth, each carrying their miracle, each declaring, God still moves. October 11th is not just personal, it is prophetic for many. Think of a single candle in the dark, alone. It pushes back shadows in a small circle. But when one flame lights another, and another, soon the entire room is illuminated. Your breakthrough is one flame. When shared, it has the power to ignite others. People scrolling in despair, families weighed down by lack, souls convinced they are forgotten. Your testimony will be the spark that makes them believe again. This is why it is vital not to hide your light. When you like this word, it is as if you add oil to the flame, keeping it bright. When you share it, you are handing your candle to another soul lost in night. When you subscribe, it is like saying, I will keep coming back to the fire, so I never grow cold. And when you donate, you are fueling the lamps that burn in many places at once, ensuring the darkness has no chance to reclaim what light has won. Chosen one. Picture a vineyard. Each vine by itself can bear fruit. But when many vines grow together, they become a harvest field. Your act of connection, liking, sharing, subscribing, donating is like planting your vine in the field of many others. Together, the vineyard becomes vast, et fruits abondants. Its testimony, undeniable. You are not just one. You are part of a great company of chosen ones declaring God's faithfulness. The Apostle reminds us in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, Verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound. This verse is not simply comfort, it is a call to action. Fear says, stay silent. Power says, speak. Fear says, heed your story. Love says, share it, so another may be saved. Fear says, keep your resources close. A sound mind says, sow. For what you release returns multiplied. Chosen one. You have not been given fear, you have been given boldness. Boldness to declare, to act, to spread the flame entrusted to you. When you comment, you place your stone on the altar. Words written publicly become memorials. Do not underestimate their weight. Someone may scroll past your comment and find in it the courage to believe. Someone may read your declaration and whisper, if they believe, maybe I can too. A single comment can ripple through unseen hearts the way a pebble ripples through a pond. This is why you are invited not just to read, but to respond. When you leave your words, you carve testimony into the moment. You mark the place where you chose faith. You record in writing, here I stood, here I believed, here I received. And those words become seeds in the soil of other people's hearts. Chosen one. Generosity is also a flame. It spreads warmth further than you imagine. Think of a fire on a cold night. You may sit close and be warmed. But when others join, the circle widens, and many are sustained. Your donation is not about transaction, it is about extending warmth to places you may never reach yourself. Every seed given ensures the fire burns brighter, the vineyard grows wider, and the testimony reaches farther. This is not obligation, it is invitation. You are not forced to give, to like, to share, to subscribe. You are invited to join a great movement of light, to say with your actions, I will not keep this to myself. I will let the flame spread. And as you participate, heaven smiles. Because you are no longer just a receiver, you are a multiplier. Chosen one. October 11th is a date written for you. But it is also a date that will inspire many through you. When your miracle payment arrives, let the world hear your testimony. Let the light be seen. Let the ripples spread wide. For your story is not small. It is part of something global, something divine, something eternal. So rise. Chosen one. Hold your flame high. Share it. Nurture it. Multiply it. And let the world see through your engagement, your generosity, and your words that God is still moving, still providing, still writing miracles in the lives of His people. Chosen one. When heaven releases a miracle payment, it is never meant to be an end in itself. It is a beginning, a training ground, a classroom where you learn the principles of stewardship. To receive is one thing, but to steward is another. Many can hold blessing for a moment, but only the faithful can carry it into generations. You are not simply receiving provision, you are being entrusted with responsibility. Think of the parable of the talents. The master entrusted resources to his servants, not as gifts to be buried, but as seeds to be multiplied. Two of them invested, worked, and increased what was given. One, out of fear, buried his share and returned it untouched. The master called the first two faithful, but the last one unwise. The lesson is clear. Heaven expects growth, expansion, and multiplication from what is placed in your hands. Chosen one. The payment you are about to receive is not only to meet your immediate needs, it is to train your hands for greater abundance. How you handle this release prepares you for the next. If you scatter recklessly, it fathers. If you hoard fearfully, it stagnates. But if you steward wisely, it multiplies. You are being positioned not only as a receiver, but as a manager of kingdom wealth. The Word of God proclaims in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16, verse 10, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is chosen one." This is why your waiting season was so long. Heaven was not punishing you, it was preparing you. It was shaping your heart so that when abundance arrived, it would not corrupt you. It was teaching you humility so that wealth would not make you proud. It was deepening your compassion so that increase would not make you selfish. Every trial was building the character required to carry the responsibility of stewardship. Think of Joseph again. Before he managed the storehouses of Egypt, he managed a prison. Before he governed a nation, he served in a household. In each place, he stewarded faithfully, no matter how small or how hidden. When the day came for him to manage abundance, he was ready, chosen one. You too have been trained in obscurity, so that you may now steward in overflow. Stewardship is not only financial, it is also spiritual. The payment itself is physical, but the impact will be spiritual. With every provision comes opportunity to bless others, to expand God's kingdom, to write testimonies into the lives of many. How you steward will determine how far the ripple spreads. Some will use their blessing for survival, but you are called to use it for significance. Chosen one. There will be temptations in this season. Temptations to waste, to flaunt, to cling too tightly. But remember this, resources are rivers, not reservoirs. A river flows, refreshing everything in its path. A reservoir hold stagnates and eventually dries. You are called to be a river, letting what flows in also flow out with wisdom. This does not mean reckless giving, it means intentional sowing, guided by the Spirit, aimed toward eternal impact. Your October 11th miracle payment is a sign of God's faithfulness, but it is also a test of your stewardship. Will you see it only as relief, or will you see it as assignment? Will you treat it only as provision, or will you treat it as partnership with heaven? The answer will determine what comes next. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. Abundance without stewardship becomes a curse, but abundance with stewardship becomes a legacy. You are not called merely to live well, you are called to leave wells for others to drink from. Your children, your community, even generations not yet born, can be nourished by the way you steward what is released now. So step into this new season with both hands open, one to receive and one to release. Be wise, be faithful, be intentional, for heaven has trusted you with much, and the eyes of the world will see through your stewardship that God not only provides, but also sustains. Chosen one. The journey does not end with payment, it begins with it. This is your training ground, your classroom, your proving place. Steward well, for the story of your abundance will echo far beyond your lifetime. Chosen one. October 11th is not just a date circled on the calendar. It is a marker etched into eternity. It is the line where the waiting ends and the fulfillment begins. For years, you have carried promises like seeds tucked away in your spirit. You watered them with tears. You shielded them with faith. You buried them under the soil of patience. And now, at the appointed time, those seeds are rising into visible harvest. This miracle payment is not coincidence, it is covenant. Think of how many times you almost laid the promise down. Weariness pressed heavy on your shoulders, and despair whispered that perhaps you had misunderstood God's voice. Yet, every time, something within you refused to quit. That was not just determination, it was preservation. Heaven itself was sustaining you because the promise over your life was too great to die in the soil. Now you stand at the threshold, and the sign is clear. Provision has arrived. But the miracle payment is more than relief. It is a crown. It rests on your head, not as decoration, but as identification. It declares that you belong to the King who provides, that you are marked by abundance and not by lack, that your life is a living testimony of what happens when faith endures. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 37, verse 25. I was young and now I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging bread. This ancient declaration becomes your present reality. You are not forsaken. You are not abandoned. You will not beg. Your lineage, your household, your future, they are all covered by the covenant of provision. The payment arriving in this season is evidence of that truth. Chosen one, understand this. Your crown of provision is not fragile. It cannot be stolen by envy, shaken by storms, or broken by delay. It is forged in the fire of your trials, polished by the tears you shed, and placed upon your head by the hand of God Himself. Others may not understand how you endured, but the crown explains it. You endured because you were never meant to walk uncovered. Your October 11th moment is also a signpost for others. When they see your story, they will see proof that waiting is not wasted, that faith is not foolish, that covenant is not broken. You will become a living altar, a place where others can encounter the reality of God's faithfulness. Your testimony will be more than words. It will be visible evidence that heaven intervenes in the affairs of men. But do not mistake this crown as the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a greater assignment. Crowns are not given merely for beauty. They are given for rule, for authority, for stewardship. With this provision, you are called to walk with greater vision, greater generosity, and greater boldness. You are entrusted to carry what others could not, because your heart has been proven in seasons of lack. Chosen one, reflect for a moment on the weight of what this means. Lack taught you compassion for those who struggle. Waiting taught you patience for those still in the process. Pain taught you humility, reminding you that every blessing is grace, not entitlement. These lessons now become the jewels in your crown, reminders that provision is not only to be enjoyed, but also to be shared. The crown of provision also signals victory in warfare. Every battle you fought in silence, every storm you weathered alone, every attack that rose against your life, all of it has been answered. The enemy sought to strip you, but instead, you are clothed. He tried to silence you, but instead, you are a testimony. He tried to shame you, but instead, you are crowned with glory. Chosen one. Wear your crown with confidence. It does not make you arrogant, it makes you grateful. It does not lift you above others, it positions you to lift others. It does not separate you from humanity, it connects you more deeply. For now you carry both empathy and authority. October 11th is your coronation in the Spirit. It is the day heaven places upon you what the world cannot take away. Walk forward with your head held high. For you are not just surviving, you are reigning. You are not merely receiving, you are embodying. You are the chosen one crowned with provision. Chosen one. If these words have spoken into your life, if the 17 sections have lit a flame in your spirit, then let me speak to your heart with sincerity. What you have received here is more than a script, it is seed. And seeds grow when they are nurtured, when they are shared, when they are sown into the soil of others' lives. When you like this message, you are adding your amen, a simple act that says, "This truth has reached me." When you share, you are scattering seed into other fields, allowing someone scrolling in silence to suddenly find a lifeline. You may never know their name, but heaven will record your ripple. When you comment, you mark the moment for yourself and for others. A single line typed boldly can inspire another chosen one to stand up and say, "Yes, me too. I believe again." Your words may be the thread that keeps someone from unraveling. When you subscribe, it is not just about following, it is about remaining connected to a well that does not run dry. It is choosing to say, "I will return to this place of refreshing," again and again. And when you donate, chosen one. Understand this clearly. You are not simply giving, you are fueling. You are pouring oil into the lamp so that the light reaches further, shines brighter, and endures longer. Your generosity becomes the bridge that carries this message into countless other hearts waiting to be awakened. So I invite you, with both humility and boldness, act on this word. Nurture the flame, scatter the seed, pour the oil. Let what you have received become a harvest for many.